survivors. Are you up all nighters? We can take it higher. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Can you feel the fire running through your veins? Now you're burning brighter. Don't look away. Shout out to the legends, rising from the wreckage. Count down the seconds. It's our touring days. Let's do this. Let's do this. I know we've got a long way to go. I know we've got a long road home. I know we've got a long way to go. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Are you ready for a comeback? Are you ready to fly? Let's do this. Are you ready for the moment? Get ready to ride. Let's do this. Oh, you know we're gonna do this. Oh, you know we're gonna do this. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Hello and welcome to this masterclass. This is where I'm going to teach you how to go beyond resolutions that you may make at the start of a year, how to really set goals and also achieve goals. And this is something that I'm going to be sharing with you across this masterclass to give you a repeatable formula and mostly an understanding of why you do what you do, why you don't do what you always want to do or say you're going to do at the start of a year, and really set you up to win. I want to give you my 3-part system across this masterclass that is going to teach you step by step to understand you more so that you can start living a more fulfilled life. Start living more on purpose, working towards a goal every day so that you feel fulfilled, you feel like you're achieving, and you're also living the life that you really want to live. Now, I am so grateful to have you here on this masterclass, and I'm so grateful to see your comments here in the chat box. So please do be interactive on this masterclass. Let me know where you're coming from. Let me know why you're here. What is the intention of you being here today? Now, I would probably say that many of you have been thinking about goals, have been thinking about what you truly want to achieve across these next months and years ahead. And that is a very important question that, quite frankly, not a lot of people ask. Now, I think that when it comes to asking people, what is your goal? A lot of people kind of shrink into themselves because they're not really sure what their goals are. Most people don't even stop to take time to really ask themselves, what do I really want from my life? And that is a question that I never asked right up until I was 28 years old, working as a nurse, kind of went to school, got the degree, went and got a good job with a pension. And I never asked myself, what do I really want from my life? And this is why I have put on this masterclass, because I want to really get you to stop. I want you to think, and I want you to plan how this next part of your life is going to look like. What is the vision of your life? What is the purpose of your life? And how do we chunk that down into goals that you can start to have a structured process, have a disciplined mind, and have a really positive attitude? We're living in a time right now where it's so important that we start to understand how to use our mind, how to bring more of our potential to the surface. We have spent so many times just kind of going round in a cycle. In fact, let me know if you can resonate with that, where it's kind of just more of the same over and over and over again. Some people say at the start of a year, Happy New Year. And the question really is Are you happy? Is this going to be a happy new year for you? And it can be, but only if you make the decision to take time now to really ask yourself, where do I want to be at the end of this year? Where do I want to be at the end of this quarter, this month, this week? And this is how I help clients all over the world reverse engineer their goals, override the old programming, the old operating system, those self-limiting beliefs. And what I'm going to be sharing with you in this masterclass is why you are where you are. Why do you keep falling into those cycles, those traps? Why do you keep kind of talking yourself out of things? Because there's one thing I know about you, even though I may never have met you. I know that you know there is more for you in this life. You came here for a great purpose. And many people don't really ever look at that deeper meaning of what our life is really all about. And it sounds like a very serious topic, and I believe that it is. I think your life is a really important element to everything that is going on in this world. I believe that you have a purpose. I believe that there is greatness within you. Now, the reason that I'm able to sit and say these things with such confidence is because there was once upon a time one person told me that. And I was in a place in my life where it was quite dark. I always say I was mentally broke, physically broke, spiritually broke, and completely financially broke. I was just following suit to what everybody else was doing. I was getting the education. I was getting the good government job with a pension. I was showing up to work every Monday and looking forward to Friday. I was going on one holiday a year. I was working overtime to try and get more money into my life. But what happened was I was trading my life for that money that honestly never really went up. Now, I would probably say that there's many reasons why you have shown up to this masterclass. And I would say that you're probably, like many other people, you either don't know where to start in changing your life, you don't know where to start in how to set and achieve goals. And quite frankly, you probably have been at times where you've thought, what's the point? Because I'm busy. There's different things in life going on, needing my attention. They need this, they need that. And you fall back into a rut that keeps giving you more of the same. But I would also say that you're frustrated with that. You're done with that way of working. You don't want to have another year that is just kind of the same as last year and the year before. And I know that you don't want that because I don't believe that anybody wants that. You know, the fundamental essence of all of our human beings is that we want more out of life. We want more life. We want more health. We want more thriving relationships. You know, you do not want to settle. You're somebody that is seeking more fulfillment, more love, more calmness, better relationships, more income, and most importantly, more time. All the money in the world is great, but if you've got no time to enjoy it, to share it, to help other people, then what is the point? Now, that one person that changed my life was my mentor, Bob Proctor. And I came across Bob Proctor over 8 years ago when I was kind of in that place, that rut. I was stuck, I was lost. And I knew there had to be a better way. I also had this feeling in my stomach, in my heart, and it was always there. At nighttime when I would go to bed, in the morning when I'd be driving to work, and I'd be thinking to myself, there's got to be more to life. And I looked at other people around me and they were kind of doing the same things as what I was doing, and nobody really seemed that happy. Now, I don't know if this is resonating with you in your life, but I certainly felt it. And I'll tell you what, I felt guilty for wanting more because I could also see other people in the world, other people in my community that were struggling way more than me. So I felt guilty for wanting more. And I want you today, tonight, wherever you are watching this, I want you to ask yourself just that one question as we go out through the gate. Do you want more for your life? Do you feel there is more for your life? And if the answer is yes, then what are you going to do about it? How are you going to start to go after that? And possibly you don't know how. Possibly you've tried before and have struggled to stick to what you've said you're going to do. And this is exactly why when Bob Proctor came into my life, everything changed. Now, you might think, looking at me, well, you've got money, you're a multimillionaire now, you've went from £4.20 to earning 8 figures, running multiple companies, you live in a beautiful home. You don't understand where I'm at. I do have all those wonderful things, and I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful, and I give thanks every day for that. But I also have an absolute passion. It is my purpose to pay it forward, to show someone like you the exact same pathway, step-by-step process that I was able to learn, that I was able to internalize and implement in my life. And I can tell you something, if I can do it, you can do it. I want you to hear my words tonight and feel hope. Feel that there might be a way to do this, because I'm telling you there is. Everything that Bob Proctor taught me was not just based on some whimsical ideas. It's not hopeful thinking. It's based on science. It's based on how everything in this universe operates. In fact, the results that you got last year are absolutely in alignment with what I'm going to show you tonight, in the fact of your results are created from your thinking. Bob always said success is 95% mindset and 5% strategy. Now, you've just come off years of maybe working on strategies. If you were to really look at that and say, have I actually been using my mindset 95% of the time? Or have I been really just working strategies in business, strategies in life? And that's only the 5% of where your results come from. Now, when Bob Proctor told me this for the first time, this was new information for me. Now, to give you a bit of a background, if you don't know who I am or where I've come from, I was a psychiatric nurse. I worked in the field of mental health and psychology and psychiatry. And fundamentally, I was dealing with the mind. However, I didn't really understand the mind. I was not taught that at university. I was not taught about the conscious, the subconscious, and how that impacts our results in life. In fact, I went right through school, and you did as well. Nobody ever taught me about goal creation. Nobody ever taught me or even asked me, what do you really want in life? Now, I'm sure you were just like me, where you go through school, you have to get your homework done, you got to get the exams, you're around 15, 17, figuring out what you want to do with your life. You have no idea. And then you fall into a job and you never really ask the question again. And yet deep in your heart, there's more. You might even know deep in your heart that you have an idea, that you have this goal, this dream, and maybe you've never shared it with anybody. Maybe you have shared it with people and they've laughed at you. They've said, oh, stay safe, be in the good job with the pension. That's what my parents told me. But when I started to really sit down and ask myself, am I happy? Do I enjoy every day? Am I spending time with the people I love? The answer was no. I wasn't earning what I wanted to earn. I wasn't spending my days how I wanted to spend my days. I wasn't able to go to the places that I wanted to go. And I don't feel that that's how we should live. I believe that we are here on this planet, in this physical world, to experience life, to love, to give, to prosper, and to make the most of ourselves. And I believe that we have deep reservoirs of talent and ability locked up within the cells of our body, but we have never been taught how to access it. This is not the first time that you've heard that we only use 10% of our potential. And we hear that. We hear that in movies. We hear that in different things around the world. And yet nobody ever says, well, how do you tap into the other 90%? That is exactly what I'm going to share with you tonight. I want to share with you how to really set and achieve goals, get you to think about what you want for your life. But then I want to show you what the process is that you must go through in order to achieve those goals. This is why most people never keep their resolutions, because we're not in the habit of keeping them. Again, I said we weren't taught in school how to earn money. We weren't taught in school how to set goals. And we were not taught in school how to make decisions. And this is why a lot of people at the start of every year, they set these resolutions and they are broken by about end of February, lucky the first week of February. Now, this is a worldwide known fact. This is not new information. But have we ever stopped to ask ourselves, why does that happen? Why does that happen to somebody in America and it happens to somebody in the UK? It happens to somebody in China and it happens to somebody in another country. And these people don't know each other, and yet the habitual pattern in a human being is that we don't last longer than about a month. Why is that? Have we ever actually stopped to ask ourselves why? Well, I think there's a few reasons why. Number one, we are not in the habit of keeping our decisions or our commitments. We set these resolutions, we say we're going to do it, we have full intentions that, yes, I want to achieve this. And you might feel even right now that you're totally hyped up, you're ready to go and execute and achieve and win this year. But how are you going to feel in February and March and April and May? If you're honest with yourself, if you even look back, you will see that sometimes you forget about the goals. You forget about the decisions and commitments that you made. Many people don't even know how to set goals. And then there are other people that actually set the wrong goals. And this is why I want to, in this masterclass, teach you the art of creation, how to actually set and achieve worthy goals that are going to give you purpose every single day. You know, if we set the money aside, we set the dream homes, the business, the sales, all the wonderful things that are tangible goals that I've no doubt that you want, if we even set those aside, I think what you want more than anything is to have peace of mind, is to have fulfillment, is to know that every day you're waking up feeling refreshed, feeling energized, and excited about what you're going to do. Now, there's a Steve Jobs quote that I love. And Steve Jobs, obviously, Apple, iPhone, he said that he got up every day and looked in the mirror and asked himself a question. Now, that question was, do I want to do what I'm about to do today? And when the answer was no, for too many days in a row, he knew something had to change. When you woke up this morning and you went to do what you're about to do you want to do it? Are you happy with where you're at? How many days has it been? How many weeks has it been? How many months or possibly years has it been that you just keep doing the same thing over and over, getting the same results, and that's not going to fulfill you. That's not going to give you energy. That's also not going to bring the potential out of you to the surface. And that's what we've got to look at this masterclass. This is what you as an individual, forget about the kids, your partners, parents, your work colleagues. I want you to really be locked in and focused on this masterclass. Have a notepad, write notes down, and really be introspective. Look on the inside. Be honest when I pose some questions to you. Tell people to go away and leave you alone for this time that we have together, because what I find is a lot of people get so busy that they don't have time for goals. They don't have time to think about what they want. And they also, the second most vital thing is most people don't believe that they can achieve it. They believe that other people can achieve these goals. You might look at me and go, well, that's okay for you, Kim. But you've got to remember, once upon a time, I was a nurse, living a very ordinary life. I was a nobody, you know. I had £4.20 in my pocket. That was the pivotal moment in my life in a pet shop where I went, enough is enough. I am in a highly educated job. I've worked my way up to being a band 7 clinical nurse specialist. I've got the degree. I went to Queen's University. I've done all these great things, and yet I've got £4.20 in my pocket. It didn't matter how many extra shifts I did. It didn't matter how more education that I obtained. I still ended up every month with not enough. I always had enough to cover my bills, but I didn't have very much surplus. I couldn't go and do the things that I really wanted to do. Now, if you can resonate with that, then this is going to be such a turning point. This could be the one shift that can change your whole life. And that's why when I sought out a mentor, somebody who had demonstrated in results that they knew and understood the psychology and science of success, that I just needed to follow that pathway. I didn't have to go and work it out all by myself. I decided to invest in me and go and seek out a mentor who could guide me, who could give me a structured process that I could wake up and follow every single day. Now, I'm going to give you some key things in which you can take away even from this masterclass and apply to your life immediately. And some of those things are going to be, you're going to have a goal this year. Everyone should have a goal, and yet very few people do. You need to have focus. You need to have direction. But on top of having a goal, you also need to have a mindset that is programmed to achieve that goal. You need to have success habits. You need to have success beliefs. And then thirdly, you need to also take consistent action. A lot of people will get into goals and dreams and vision boards, and it's amazing, and you have it up in your room, or you even have laid out your goals for this year. But if you do not have the next two components, which is a mindset programmed to work in harmony with that goal, and you don't take action, nothing is going to change. And I would probably say that a lot of people right now, it's the last one that they are really struggling with. It is, what do I do every day? What are the daily practices that I can use to amplify my attitude, to help me align to my goals? And what are the actions I even need to take? That's usually where the stumbling blocks come in. So that's why in this masterclass, I'm going to share with you some key fundamental elements about you. We're going to look at your attitude. We're going to look at your alignment in your beliefs and your habits. I'm going to show you what has been tripping you up all of these times. What has tripped you up every time you set a goal and you start to procrastinate. Procrastination is without a doubt the number one problem for most people, whether you are in business for productivity with your teams, yourself, your colleagues, even if you're at home, you want to get fit, you want to get healthy, but you procrastinate. And that's where I'm going to show you why you do that. Because I would say a lot of people beat themselves up. You get annoyed. Oh, I said I was going to do that and I didn't. And ultimately that breaks down your own integrity with yourself. You start to feel bad because you don't follow through. But I want you to understand that it's not your fault. I want you to understand that there's a part of your mind that is keeping you stuck. And until you start to get to that root cause of what is keeping you stuck and develop an understanding, you're never going to be able to move past it. So we're going to really help you eliminate confusion in this masterclass. We're going to help you eliminate fears, those invisible barriers that seem to be keeping you stuck in where you're at, so that you can then propel yourself to being disciplined to consistent action. Consistency is where you're going to create momentum, and momentum is going to help you get the results. So this is going to really cover the 3-part system that I've been teaching clients in their thousands all over the world for the last 8 years. Now, as I say, I've been highly trained. Not only did I spend 10 years in the field of psychiatry, but I'm not here to be your nurse or your life coach. I'm a high performance mentor. I am here to help you achieve those goals and dreams that seem such a fantasy right now. I am here to help you not settle. I'm here to tell you that it is possible, that it is probable. And I'm here to really give you a guidance on how you can use the same strategies, the same thinking process that I've personally used, that my clients all over the world have used to multiply their income, to have more time, to have more meaningful relationships, and to have structure in their day so that they feel alive, healthy, well, and wealthy. Now, this might seem to you like, this is all wishful thinking. This might be the first time you've even come across myself. But having trained with Bob Proctor directly, I didn't just study his material online. I sat side by side with Bob Proctor for 7 years, studying under the master teacher. He was without a doubt the greatest teacher ever known in this world to date, that was able to teach people to radically shift their thinking so that they could create the results that they want. I went into it, and maybe you're skeptical, maybe you think this is all woohoo. That's what my family thought when I started out. And to be honest, I probably thought it a little bit at the beginning too. But you know what I thought? My way is not working. If I keep doing what I've always done, I'm going to keep getting what I've always got. And whilst I didn't really fully understand the science, whilst I even thought I wasn't even smart enough to start to get into all of this stuff, even though I thought I wasn't good enough and I didn't even deserve to live an abundant life, something inside of me said, just try it. And I am so grateful for that little voice within that told me one day, just go for it, Kim. What is there to lose? Like, there's nothing. I haven't charged you anything to come and watch this masterclass, because I believe everybody in the world needs to hear this information. Why? Because everyone in the world has a mind. And this whole universe, all of our results are absolutely 100% created by how we are programmed to think. Every scientist has proved this. Religion proves it. Everyone, even people who have disagreed, but they all agree on one thing, is that we become what we think about. Now, as we think about that premise, you've got to ask yourself, what do you think about? Have you been thinking about your goals? Have you been thinking about what you really want? Or is your mind more thinking about what needs to get done, what hasn't happened, problems, situations like that? And this is where you either are going to have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. And this is why mindset is always going to be the 95% of your success. If you have a mindset that is programmed to see the problem, then you're going to start to attract a lot of problems in your life. Whereas if you start to reprogram your mind to see abundance, prosperity, growth, possibility, you're going to bring to you, by the law of cause and effect, more commonly known as the law of attraction, you're going to start to attract to you the people you need, the opportunities you need, the ideas that you need. I'm not here to teach you and say that you close your eyes and you think of money and it just magically comes into your bank account. It doesn't. It takes an attitude fixed on your goal. It takes you to align your habits and beliefs with the goal, and it takes you to take action towards your goal. But in order to go through that process, you must reprogram your thinking to be in alignment with that. So this is where we're going to start out. We're going to start to look at what is the goal that you really want to go after. Now, the real truth is 97% of the population do not have a goal. You go and ask family members, co-workers, anyone out on the street, what is your goal? Not many people can tell you. Now, the research has been done, Harvard studies have been done, that 97% of people in this world do not have a goal. And yet we as human beings are goal-oriented beings, meaning we are programmed to always work towards a directive, an end. Now, if you're not setting the goals for your life, do you know what is setting the goals? Life. Other people, other people's agendas, other economy, governments, all of these things will start to control you. And it doesn't take a scientist to know right now that, my goodness, people more than ever are starting to waken up to take more responsibility of what they want. Because we've all went through the same system, and the system is broken. Get a job, pay your pension, pay your taxes, have a family and die. Now that sounds very harsh, but it is the truth. That's where a lot of people are very unhappy. Marriages break down. People are getting more sick than they've ever got. The world is not really in a great place. However, that's not the perspective that I take. I take that we're in the most incredible time, that if we as human beings can start to really think and take back control of our lives, bring our potential to the surface, this could be the best time ever in your life. And it can happen at any moment because it just takes a decision. Now, as I say, 97% of the people do not have a goal. Now, when you do not have a goal in your life, do you know what happens? You drift, you coast, and you become susceptible to outside trivia. How many times have you found yourself sitting on your phone scrolling? How many times have you found yourself watching Netflix series over and over and over again? And yet, a lot of people say they don't have enough time. And yet, if we were to really look over your shoulder every day, there's probably a lot of time that is being given to just daily trivia, noise, outside things. And this is where a lot of people drift. And it's not anyone's fault because, again, they haven't been taught that there is a science to achieving goals, an absolute proven process. So really, we've got to look at what is the purpose of a goal. Now, as I say that word purpose, a lot of people, I feel, and I hear it a lot, question is, but Kim, I don't know what my purpose is. You may know what your purpose is, but it's a high percentage that you may not. And that, I think everyone fundamentally knows they have a purpose, but they don't know what it is. Well, I can tell you what your purpose is. Your purpose is to become aware of who you truly are and be a bigger, fuller version of that, to help other people and live life to the fullest. That is the most broad, easiest way to explain what your purpose is. Now, I think everybody wants more. I think you want more. But as we say, a lot of people feel guilty for wanting more because we live in an environment, in a world where a lot of people ridicule and put you down for, well, why should you have more? And, all those other people that have all that stuff, that's not fair. And all that really comes down to is lack of awareness, lack of understanding that there is enough food in this world to feed everyone. There is enough for everyone and more. But we are not living in a world that thinks that way. We're living in a world of fear, scarcity. There's not enough. And yet that is a mindset. That is a perception. And if you think that way, that is the reality that you will have. But if you learn to change your thinking, change your perspective, then there is an abundance for everything. And there's an abundance for you. So this is where it gets very interesting because it all comes down to how you think. Now, as I say, a lot of people don't understand their purpose. And I believe your purpose is to live a fuller life. Now, here's the great part. You get to choose what that looks like. This is where you come into vision. Vision is how you express your purpose. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the vision for your life? If you were to think about the next 5 years, just the next 5 years, and hopefully you'll be around for a lot longer, but just think of the next 5 years. Have you ever really sat down and thought about what you want that to look like? Have you ever sat down with a pen and paper and really thought about what you want your life to look like? Vision is the expression of this purpose. Your purpose is to bring more to the surface. So what is that more? Then the next thing, when you build your vision out, then you take a bite out of the vision and that becomes your goal. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you as we go through this. I would also say that I've got a gift for you at the very end of this masterclass. So you're going to want to stay around and really do the work that we're putting towards you. Another reason that some people struggle when it comes to goals is they don't understand the purpose of a goal. You might find yourself, again, going back to that lack mentality of I shouldn't want more and etc. I want you to understand that I am not here to teach you to be one of those people that have flashy cars, flashy houses, have all the money in the bank, and be like, look at me. This is not about ego. There are lots of people like that. But I also drive a pretty flashy car. And I also live in a very beautiful home. But I understand that I have earned it. I understand that it is a result and a reward for the service that I have given. I also understand that I had to grow as a person to be able to achieve these things. So I'm very proud of what I have in my life. I'm very proud, and I also share it because I want people like you to understand that you can have it all. You can have fulfillment, deep, meaningful relationships, love in your life, health in your life, and abundance, whether that's in income, homes, or things. And what people sometimes get mistaken is that a goal is to get. Now, I can tell you now, the purpose of a goal is growth, not to get. I do not set out in my life, and I've got goals, but I'm not going, oh, I need to get that. I must have a Ferrari, or I must have a dream home, or I must have all this money. I don't chase things. I understand, because I've been taught the science, that if I grow my awareness, if I become a greater version of me, then I will achieve these goals as a reward. My purpose of a goal is to grow. You see, the Kim Calvert 8 years ago who had £4.20 and drove a Seat Leon was a very different person to who sits in front of you today. Now, I still kind of look the same, but my mindset is different. My environment is different. My results are different. And the only thing that I changed, I did not go back to university. I did not go and get strategies. I started to change how I think. I started to change to look to the positive instead of the negative. I started to involve myself in studying who I really am at a deep level. And when I started to realize who I really was and not who I thought I was, I started to love myself more. You know, back 8 years ago, I really hated myself. I thought I was useless. I thought I was unlovable. That was my fundamental, deep-seated belief, that I was an unlovable person. Now, I don't really know why I felt that way. I'm sure if I look back on my history, I could find a few reasons. But I'm past my nursing days, and we don't look back. We only look forward. And I started to identify that this feeling of not enough, not being lovable, was actually affecting my career, my relationships, my finances, my results, my environment, my friendships, my network. It was limiting everything in my life because I thought I wasn't good enough. Now, whether you are a business owner, whether you are an employee, wherever you're at, this is relevant to everyone because everyone thinks something about themselves. And I had a really negative thought about me. And I started to realize that that's what was limiting everything in my life. That's why when I started to work harder, get extra jobs, do extra shifts, the bank account never went up. It always still stayed the same. And that's because how I felt about me on the inside was so limiting. That meant I was working harder. That meant I was putting more time. That meant I was spinning more plates. And that was exhausting. That was frustrating. And that was very confusing. And because I had no understanding of the mind, I didn't understand why this was happening. I just thought, well, it's me. And this is this self-fulfilling prophecy that happens. If you're sitting going, I'm not happy with my results, you are likely blaming yourself or blaming someone else. And that is not going to help you move forward. So when Bob Proctor taught me the art of goal achieving, getting me to understand that the purpose of a goal is not to get, it is to grow, then that made this process so much easier. You'll find some people that they'll set goals, they work really hard to get them, they achieve them, and then it's kind of like, oh, is that it? It's kind of like an anticlimax. Maybe you've experienced this before. And then when you go to set another goal, you kind of think, what's the point? That really was a lot of hard work. And when I got there, it wasn't all that. That's because, number one, you don't understand that it's not about getting, it's about growing. And number two, probably more likely, you've set the wrong goal. What does that mean? How could you say you've set the wrong goal? What's the right goal? Well, this is where Bob started to teach me how to set and achieve goals. And he says, Kim, there are 3 different types of goals, 3 categories. And depending on which category that you place your goal into is going to really identify how your life's going to be. He says, if you pick, let's call the first category an A-type goal. Now, what is an A-type goal? An A-type goal is a goal that you already know how to achieve. It is a goal that you've maybe done before, or you know exactly what you need to do to go after it. Now, I want you to realize that if you, and maybe you even want to right now, jot down what your goals are for this year. If you've already been thinking about goals, I want you to write those down so that you can assess them and look at them as I go through these 3 categories. An A-type goal is a goal that you know you can do. Why is that not a good goal? In fact, it's the worst goal. Why? Because you already know how to do it. And what that means is, for you to obtain that goal, you don't need to grow as an individual. You don't need to become more aware. You don't need to bring more of your potential to the surface because you already know how to do it. Now, when there is a little tiny bit of growth, you're not going to have a big, exciting outcome. You're going to end up going after it, achieving it. And here's the funny, weird part about it. You probably will never go after it. You'll procrastinate. How many times have you set a simple goal that you know how to do and you haven't done it? Well, do you know why you've procrastinated? Do you know why you've been diverted? Because there's no growth in obtaining it. So your mind goes, what's the point? So that's an A-type goal. A B-type goal is better than an A because it is a goal that you think you can do. It is a goal that when you look at everything, you go, do you know, I think I could do this. And if I got that and I got these people to help me and we did this, I think I could do this. Now that sort of a goal you'll feel energetically is a little bit more exciting. There's a little bit more oomph with it, but it is only going to stretch you a little bit. So if it is only going to stretch you a little bit, you're only going to grow a little bit. This is the category that I would say most people, now remember, very few people set goals, but out of that small 3%, a lot of people land in the B-type category. That's the place where you do work the goal, you achieve it, and there's a bit of an anticlimax. So the A-type goal is the one you know. Most people don't even go after it because there's no growth attached. A B-type goal is the goal that has a little stretch, which means a little growth, and that gives you the anticlimax. The next goal is a C-type goal. This is the goal that is the fantasy. This is the goal that is expanding your imagination. This is the goal where you're seeing yourself doing something completely different with your life. You might still have the same life, but it is a bigger, fuller version of it. Now, to give you some context, we'll just use me as an example. There I was, clinical nurse specialist, having a job, living in a pretty ordinary house, driving a pretty ordinary car, doing pretty ordinary things, right? I wasn't fulfilled, didn't really understand why, because I'd done everything people had told me to do, and I was kind of left in this, like, there has to be more place, right? And then I meet Bob Proctor, and he says, what do you really, really want? And I remember when Bob, and if you've ever come across Bob Proctor, like he screams this at you, what do you really want from your life? I had a total blank screen. You might have a total blank screen. Now that doesn't mean that there's not things that you want. It's because you haven't been in the habit of asking that question. So it doesn't come to your mind right away. But he kept asking me it and he kept asking me it. And I probably give pretty normal answers. Well, I just want to be happy. I just want to feel fulfilled. Now I want to have more money. And he'd say, Kim, that's that's not a good goal. And I say to you, if you have set a goal that you want to be happier this year, I'm sorry to tell you, but that is not a good goal. Now, that's not me saying that I don't want you to be happy. I want you to be happy. But I believe happiness should not be a goal. That's a birthright, not a goal. The problem with setting a goal to be happy is it is almost intangible. How would you know when you're happy? Are you going to wake up someday and go, oh, I've hit my goal, I'm happy today? You got to ask yourself, what would make me happy? What would be different in my life? How would I be living if I was truly happy? Where would I live? Where would I go? What would I have? Who would I be with? Who could I help? What would I be bringing to the world? So the more that I started to really sit and ask that question, what do I really want? My imagination started to kick in. Now I had to really sit, and this is part of this masterclass. You've got to really sit and think. Not sit on your phone, not ask other people. Because here's the thing, a lot of people are living a life on other people's terms. You're doing maybe what your parents wanted you to do. You're maybe doing what your boss wants you to do. You're maybe doing what your partner wants you to do. But what do you really want to do this year? And the year after that, and the year after that? You are an individual. You've been gifted a life. And we don't know how long that life is, but you only get one. And you've really got to sit and ask yourself, what do I want from my life? How do I want to spend my days? Now, often when I ask people, especially when I ask friends or family, and I talk about this subject, they get really stumped. And I think the reason that we get stumped is because we don't believe it's possible. Or we don't know how we would do it. So we don't even entertain the idea. It's amazing how our mind does that. It just blocks us right away. So I'm going to make this really easy for you. We're going to trick the mind. Firstly, let's test it. Write down what you want. Try to make a list. Try to write 5 to 10 things that you really want. Okay? Now just notice in your mind right now, are things coming really fast? I'm going to guess no. Some of you, it might be yes, right? But if we had more time and I got you to really sit for 5 to 10 minutes and try to list all the things that you really want, I would say you'll get to a point where you get a bit stuck, right? Now, if I ask you this question, you've just won the lottery. Congratulations. You have just won, let's say, 20 million. What do you want? What are you going to use that money for? You know, when I say that to people, suddenly it's, oh, this, I'm due up the house and I want to get this dream home and I'd love to drive this car and I want to take the family on holidays and I want to take the kids to Disney and I want to quit that job and I want to start this business. It's like, boom, 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 boom. Now, we don't have the time to do this, but when you really sit and notice how you feel, when I say, what do you want? And then I say, you've just won 20 million. Which does the mind kind of find it easier to think of things? Every time I do this with somebody, it's when I say you've won the lottery. Now you got to ask yourself, why is it so easy to think of things when you've won the money? Because you don't believe that you think you can earn it. And money is earned. And this is where beliefs and habits are the biggest factor when it comes to achieving goals and also living the life that you really want to live. Another way that we could put this is, let's pretend I have a magic wand. And I want you to sit right now and really ask yourself, okay, in fact, put a circle in the middle of a page. Put these little spokes out. Health, wealth, relationships, travel, environment. If you really take every element of your life, and I have a magic wand, and I say to you, you can have anything you want. Anything. Absolutely anything. There is no limitations. We're going beyond that. You have all the talent. You have all the ability. You have all the money that you want. what would your life look like? What would you change? What would you do? Where would you go? How would you spend your days? Sometimes it's so easy to think about the big things, like, oh, I'll go on this beautiful holiday, but a holiday you come home from. So I think one of the most important questions is how would you love in this magical world, thinking beyond possibilities, how would you love to spend your days? Really think about that. Like, what time would you love to get up at? How many hours do you want to work? Do you want to work? Do you want to work for yourself? Do you want to work for somebody else? Do you want to create? Do you want to work from home? Do you want to work on location? How do you want to spend your time with your family? Do you want to take the kids to school? Do you want to go on more trips? These are the questions that we never give time to. We never sit down and design the vision of how we would love our life to be. This is the number one thing that I want you to actually do. Do not just listen to my words in this masterclass. It is imperative that you pick up a pen and you start to think and draw out. I'd love to go here. Like, list all the places. Don't just say, I want to travel. Where do you want to go? How do you want to get there? Do you want to fly at the front of the plane and sit at the back of the car? That's something that Bob always taught me. He says, Kim, you want to sit at the front of the plane and at the back of the car. And that's not how I travel. This was all a dream for me in the beginning. I had no idea how I would achieve the life that I now live. But it started by me thinking, what do I really want? It started by me stopping and actually being real with myself and saying, how do I want to spend my days? Who are the people I want to be with? How do I want those relationships to be? You might be in a relationship that's struggling right now, or you're struggling with it. How would you love that to be? That's one of the best things I always say to myself and to my clients. How would you love it to be? We're so trained to see it for how it is. You've got to remember that how it is has been created by previous thinking. And what we must do to break the cycle is to ask ourselves, how would I love it to be? So I want you right now, and you can do this after this masterclass as well, draw that circle on a page. My life, the dream life. I don't care what age you are. I don't care if you're a multi-million-dollar CEO or you are working in a normal job. This is for everyone to sit and do. How would I love my life to be? Are you really prepared to settle for how things are? Or could you just at least take 10 minutes to sit down and think and dream? You've been gifted an imagination. It's one of your higher mental faculties that gives you the ability to dream. And so many of us have forgotten to dream, to play, to create. We did it as we were kids, but we don't do it when we're adults because we're already too programmed to just keep doing what we've been doing. So as you sit right now and look at those goals, I want you to build that vision. Now, you're going to have lots of things on that page, I would hope. And I think you should do this both on a personal and a professional basis. Think of it like a shopping list, okay? What are all the things you would love to achieve, do, go, have, give in a personal sense? What car would you love? Like, what's your dream car? Not many people drive the car they really want to drive. And yes, you'll say to me, well, that's because of money, Kim. Okay, but what do you want to earn? Many people complain that they don't earn enough money, that they don't have enough. But if you're spending more time thinking about what you don't have, you're only ever going to attract more of that. Where your focus and attention goes, more energy flows. So the question that I ask you is, what would you love to earn? Now, don't let the little voice sabotage you and go, no, well, I can't. Or how? Just set that aside for the moment. What would you love to earn, whether it's every month or every year? Would you love to turn your annual income into a monthly income? I can show you how to do that. I've helped thousands of people do that. I've actually helped one client last year earn 7 figures in a month. Multiple months, repeatable formula. You see, a consistent formula will give you consistent results. So you've got to first decide, before we teach you the process, what would you love to earn to be able to do the things that you'd love to do? What sort of home would you love to live in? What sort of body would you love to live in? Like what would be your ideal body, health? What is the relationships that you would love to have? These are the questions that are going to define how this next year looks for you. If you skip this process, you're not going to have a target to go to. Now, as I said, the C-type goal is the most important part. If you go for an A-type goal, you probably won't do it. If you go for a B-type goal, you will maybe go for it, but there's not much growth, and then you'll quit. C-type goal is the fantasy, is the crazy goal that when you tell your friends or family or coworkers, they think you have lost it. When I started to think about my C-type goal and I was still in nursing, I was going around saying, I'm going to create a company that works all over the world, helping people, waking up one thought at a time. I'm going to be Bob Proctor's #1 student. I'm going to earn multi-millions. I'm going to drive a Ferrari. I'm going to build my dream home. I'm going to give Lindsay everything she's ever wanted. I had all of these like fantasies. Now, I'm a very creative person and I get really excited. And I was so in it. I was telling everybody. And everybody kind of gave me a weird look. People in my work kind of were a bit like, who do you think you are? My family said, whatever you do, don't give up the job. That's all lovely and that's great, but don't give up the job. My partner rolled their eyes and said, don't make me promises you can't keep. Everybody was against me. They didn't mean to be against me, but they were against me. Nobody supported me. I didn't have a network. I didn't even have friends that supported me. But what happened was I fell in love with the idea. I started, when I really put pen to paper and I started to write out how I would love my life to be, I was able to see how my life was, and I had now started to love and get emotionally involved in the idea of this possibility. Now that is the starting point of everything. Every single thing in this world has been created first by thought, and then it has become a thing. This camera that I'm speaking into, it had to be first an idea before it could become a physical camera. So you see, the first starting point to achieving your goals is you must first think about what you really, really want. So I want you to take time, whether it's after this masterclass, to really sit and look at those goals. Now, when you sit and write out how much you'd love to earn, where you'd love to travel, I want you to even like expand on all of those. You know, if you were to earn that, who could you help in your family? Who could you help in your community? What would that money bring? You see, we're not here to do a money masterclass, but one thing I really want you to understand is that money needs a purpose. If you're going to attract money into your life, it has got to have a purpose. You don't just want money. Money is just energy, and there has got to be a purpose at the back of it. Do not go into this year chasing money just because you don't want to feel that you've got the lack of money. When you try to achieve something because you don't want the negative of it, you're actually not going to attract it into your life. Whereas if you give money a purpose, take the kids to Disney, build the extension on in the home, help your parents, whatever that might be for you. If you can build a burning desire at the back of your goal, then you're going to win. Now, I was actually teaching my clients that recently around the burning desire. Desire is without a doubt the starting point to all achievement. Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, had a full chapter of desire. And he says, you know, without a desire, you will fall short of your goal. If you don't have a desire, there's going to be days in the process of achieving your goal that you don't want to do what you need to do. And if your desire is not strong enough, your old habitual habits are going to win. This again is why an A and a B type goal don't really get you very far, because it's not exciting enough. I want you right now to forget about what everybody else thinks. If I had have went and asked my parents, do you think I should give up nursing and go in the pursuit of my dreams? Absolutely not. In fact, there would have been an intervention. What's wrong with her? She's talking to some man in Canada and she wants to leave her good government job. She needs help. If I had went to my boss and said, do you think this is a good idea? They'd have went, no. But you see, I stopped asking people outside because I'd been living my life that way for a very long time. I did what everybody else wanted me to do. I was a people pleaser. I was a follow the masses, the herd mentality. I was, let me just do what everybody else is doing. Let me just blend in. I just wanted to blend in. In fact, I wanted to be invisible. And I would ask other people, what do you think I should do? And I never allowed myself to think in possibilities and dream until I started to take what I'm teaching you a lot more serious. In fact, I could show you books that I have up here in my bookcase where I first sat down and went, what do I want? And I remember even when I was writing it, I'm sort of giggling. I'm sort of nervous. I'm kind of like, do I even want to write that down? There's moments where I'm going, this is so stupid. Like, I've been possibly where you've been. Maybe you're far more advanced. Maybe you're already sitting with your goals clearly defined. Great. But I want to speak to you if you're someone that was like me and you just were sick and tired of being sick and tired. You don't want to settle for the same. And the truth is, if we look back in the last 6 months, the last year, that is going to be pretty much the same the next 6 months and the next year forward if you do not start to change how you think. So dream. Give yourself permission. Share here inside our community. Be brave and go, this is what I would love. And I tell you now, we'll support you. We'll show you. We'll guide you. Now, the one other thing that I want to mention in goals is you do not need to know how you're going to achieve them. This is where a lot of people can get stuck and limit themselves because we only think within the range of our current abilities or beliefs, okay? And that's why we have this thing called a comfort zone. And ultimately, you do not need to know the how. Now, I remember when Bob Proctor used to tell me, Kim, you don't need to know how. It frustrated me so much when he said that because I need to know how. Well, how am I going to achieve it? He says, Kim, you have to first decide that that is what you're going to go after. Again, Napoleon Hill wrote another chapter called Decision in Think and Grow Rich. All of these books say the same thing. They don't talk about money, they talk about the mind. And Bob says, if you can decide what you want and you can tell me what you want, I'll show you how to get it. Because the likelihood, in fact, there is no likelihood. See, even if right now you're sitting listening to me and you can write out exactly what you want, that is the first step and that is great. The second step, though, is you've got to decide, am I committed to going after this goal? You're either committed or you're interested. And this is so important because discipline is where most fall short. There is a thing called the common denominator of success that states that successful people will do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. You've got to, before I show you the how, before I start to take you on this next journey, you've got to really ask yourself, are you making a committed decision that you're going to go after this goal? You cannot sit and go, oh, well, that's a nice idea. That would be lovely. You've got to actually go, I want this. I am going to do what it takes to achieve this. Now, if you cannot make that decision, then you probably will never achieve it. And that's just me being honest. This is why we call this beyond resolutions. Because Anybody can pick up a pen and make a list of things that they want. That's almost easy. But this is why I said at the start of this masterclass, there is a difference between setting and achieving goals. Setting goals happens at a conscious level. That's when you just have these nice ideas. It's a kind of fleeting thought of, oh yeah, that would be lovely. To achieve a goal, that happens at a subconscious level. That happens at a deep level in another part of your mind. And that is the part in which you're going to need some help with. Because as I say, anybody can sit down and make a list, but it is the how. It is what steps do I take? It is the aligning to those goals that makes the difference. And that's why really only ever 3% become successful. And yet it can be way more if you understand the process. And this is why I share this information with you. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you over to my whiteboard, because now what I want to explain to you is a bit of the science. This is the part where I get so excited, because I'm not a motivational speaker. I am not somebody to just go, woo, think of your goals and think big and good luck. No, there's no such thing as luck. Luck is a man-made word for people who do not understand the causes of effects. Okay? And that may make sense to you or not, but I want you to understand that what I'm sharing with you is nothing to do with just hoping and wishing. Napoleon Hill said, it is not by hope or wish, it is by belief that you will achieve your goals. So, in order to understand this, I want to share with you my 3-part system that is going to help you not only create an attitude that is focused on your goal, okay? So let's just pretend right now you're sitting in a place where you've thought about, you've put your life, in fact, I'll show this for you. I want you to draw a circle, and I want you to write my dream life. I want you to think of you and maybe your health. I want you to think about your spiritual health. I want you to think about your relationships. I want you to think of your income. I want you to think of your environment. I want you to think of where you want to travel. Environment might include your house, might include friendships that you want to have. I want you to think of as many areas in your life as possible, okay? How do you want to look? How do you want to feel? How do you want to spend your days? What do you want to drive if you're into cars? What are the relationships with your family, your co-workers? What do you want to do in your business or your career? Like, I want you to sit down like a magic wand and go, right, I would love to look like this, wear these clothes. I would love to feel confidence. I would love to be more energetic. I would love to have thriving relationships. I would love to be earning, I don't know, whether it's 10, 50, 100K a month. Like, that's a possibility for you. I've helped people do that. What if you could turn your annual into a monthly income? Even if you just started there, whatever you earn a year, right? Let's say it's 30 to 40K. Imagine you earn that now a month. What would that change for you? What would that change in your relationships? What would that change in your environment? Would you upgrade the house? Who would you hang out with? Where would your business be? How would you travel? Would you travel more? Would you go to all those places? What would your days look like? You know, when you just start to play with the idea of turning your annual into a monthly income, you start to see, wow, who could I help? Now, you might be sitting here going, Kim, I'm not interested in money. It's not about the money. I can tell you now, money is the most important thing. And I'm not saying that I worship money. I think money is the servant. I am the master. But I cannot be foolish to think that I can have the things that I want in my life. You cannot live a fuller life if you're not having the money in your life to do it. You won't have time freedom if you don't have money freedom. You can't even have health without money. Money is without a doubt the one thing that keeps this world spinning. So you do really want to embrace the idea of this, okay? So that's the activity that I really want you to do, okay? Then, as I said, I wanted to share with you so that you can understand the mind. And now let's pretend you're sitting, you've got this dream, you've built your vision. Now we've got to say, okay, what is a bite out of that vision? What's the first thing we're going to go after? You see, you've got to get laser focused on one goal this year. There is many people say to me, Kim, but I've got this goal and that goal, and I want to do this and I want to do that, and you've lots of things. The way that I managed this was, instead of having lots of things, which means I'm going to give 10% energy over here, 10% energy over there, 10% energy over here, my energy is totally dispersed. You want to start to bring those things into one image, into one idea. So like when I sat and did this, I wanted, yes, the dream house, the dream car. I wanted to have my business here. I wanted to impact millions of people all over the world. Which one do I focus on? I brought it all into a bit of a timeline. And that might be something that you do. Once you've got this list, you might start to go, okay, where do I want to be in 5 years? And you might start to plot all those things. Well, I want this here, but where do you want to be this year? This time next year, what would you love to be different in your life? That's what I want you to just pick. Whatever that looks like. It could be a couple of things, but it could be in one image, all right? That's what we're going to do and say as the starting point. Now, as I say, let's pretend you're sitting going, right, Kim, this is what I want. I want to multiply my income, or I want to find my dream partner, or I want to improve my health, or I want to start my business, or I want to scale my business, I want to multiply, whatever it may be. If you're sitting right now saying, I'm committed, then this next part is going to be vital. If you're sitting there and you're thinking, nah, I'm not really committed, I would probably log off, because the next part that I'm going to show you is the science, is the how, and is things that you're going to have to implement if you're going to make those dreams a reality. So the first thing that we're going to look at, and the first pillar to achieving these goals, is that you have got to have an attitude that is focused on your goal. Okay? Now, attitude, without a doubt, is going to be the most important thing that you start to work on this year. When it comes to goal achieving, you've got to understand how the mind works. You might have found yourself that you lack focus, you procrastinate. There's certain things that you're not being disciplined in taking the action. Maybe you feel you don't have confidence to step out and make decisions, go to speak to people, show up and promote your business, or whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe it's to show up on a date. I have no idea, but there are certain things that people have a problem with, okay? In fact, we'll write that down as well. One of the main things that people have a problem with is they're not in the habit of doing what they need to do, okay? That includes procrastination. That includes a lot of things. We are not in the habit of doing the things we need to do to achieve the goals. We're in the habit of doing whatever we do. The other thing that we have a problem with is confidence. You maybe have had this dream and this goal for years, but you haven't had the confidence to step up and claim it. You haven't had the confidence to step out and take a chance on you. And then number 3, we lack focus. And number 4, we lack support. These 4 things, without looking at these and changing these, you're going to stay where you've always been. You have got to adopt success habits. You have got to increase your confidence and self-belief. You have got to become laser focused so that you can drown out the noise of a busy world. You've also got to work with people that can support you, that can guide you. So these are the 4 key things that you need. And then what I'm going to show you now is the 3 pillars of how this all goes together. Now, I've already mentioned attitude, okay? I've also said at the start of this masterclass that you can create anything you want and that your thoughts create your reality. You see, the results that you got last year were because of the thoughts that you had last year, the habits and the beliefs that you had last year. And last year's habits and beliefs are not going to create new results this year. Now, to understand that, I want to show you how your mind operates. Okay, and this is all about attitude. So here, if I draw this circle, this is your mind. This is how the mind looks like. And I'm going to go pretty fast through this because we can't show you everything in this one masterclass, but I want to give you the awareness. Two parts of your mind, conscious, subconscious. This top part of your mind is the conscious part, and this is where you think. You think thoughts. Right now in this masterclass, you're thinking. And then in the subconscious part of your mind, you have got your emotional mind. These are your feelings. This is how you feel about things. And then this small circle at the bottom is your body, and this is what you go out and take action with, right? Now, I'm breaking down the science and the psychology of who you are right now. This is not taught in school. It's not taught in many places. And it's this very diagram that will change everything for you if you really start to study who you are. And fundamentally, we all operate the same. We all think, we all feel, and we all act. Now, this thinking, feeling, and acting is what we call our attitude. This is your attitude. Attitude is the energy in which you give off to the world. Now, believe it or not, your body that you're in is an instrument of the mind. The mind is the most important. The mind is what tells your body what to do, okay? And the energy that you're giving off, when you're walking down a street and you walk past somebody and you kind of go, oh, I'll maybe cross over the street. You get a bad vibe off the person, right? And then there's other people where you just love to be around, or you feel a good vibe off them. Well, this word vibe is vibration. Vibration is energy, and it is the energy in which we give off. Your attitude is that energy. So if I'm somebody that thinks a negative thought and I have negative feelings, I'm probably going to go and do negative things in my life. I'm going to take negative actions. And every action that you take has a reaction. This is where the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction comes into play. If I think negative, if I feel negative, and I act negative, do you know what's going to happen? Negative energy goes out into the world, negative energy comes back, and what I create in my life are negative results. Now, this is scientific fact. If I think I am not good enough, and I keep telling them, because this used to be me, I used to think I'm not good enough. I can't do that. I'll never be able to do this. It was a negative, fixed mindset that I had. And then I would feel I had low self-confidence. I had low self-worth. The actions that I went out and took were not always good for me. The main thing is I didn't take actions. I didn't go for the better job. I didn't go and apply myself. I didn't step forward and say, oh, I would love to do this. I lived within the range of what I believed I was capable of. So you've got to understand that your thoughts, feelings, and actions create an energy that goes out into the world, and that energy is coming back. Your attitude to life will be life's attitude to you. Now, when we think about your goals, and if I bring back, I said about setting and achieving, what you've got to realize is that you set your goals on a conscious level, but you achieve goals on a subconscious level. Now, you might ask, why is that? What is it that does that? A lot of people set goals, big ideas, and they're wonderful, but that goes out the window and you keep doing what you've always done. And this takes me on to my next pillar. This pillar is called alignment. Okay? So let's say you are sitting here today and you have a goal. Okay? Well, The next thing that we find, and I'll just draw another little stick person. You now have this goal that you really want to achieve, and maybe you've sat and made out that vision, and you've got this great goal, you've got this great idea, and this part of your mind, this conscious part of your mind, of course, it deals in thoughts, but it is also what we call the knowing part of your mindset. It is the part that you're sitting right now, I see my goal. However, this bottom part, the subconscious mind, this is what creates 96 to 98% of all of your results in life. Your subconscious mind is the operating system. It's like a computer, okay? I have a computer here in front of me, and it's an Apple Mac, right? If I was to go in and put Windows 98 software, or even a very old, one of the first iOS software, and I put it into this brand new computer, I can have the fancy hardware, but if the software inside, the programming inside is old, I can only ever get an old output. Doesn't matter that it's in a fancy machine. So you can have a beautiful body, but it's what's going on the inside that really matters. So you, right now, as you sit, you've got this goal in your mind, but you also have got habits and beliefs at a subconscious level that are not currently programmed for that goal. Now, what that means is that the action that you'll go out and take, and here's the cool thing, your subconscious mind controls 96 to 98% of everything you do, which gets you results in life. That is the big programming within you. What habits? Do you procrastinate? Do you have low self-confidence? We could go on and on and on about habits and beliefs. This is the part that controls actually what you do in life. You can have a big dream, but if you don't have the habits and the beliefs to follow up with the dream and align with the dream disappears. So what actually happens, and this is what it looks like, is you have these goals, but on a subconscious level, what we call your paradigm goes, no. Who are you to do that? How are you going to do that? Makes you look back at previous results and go, well, you failed there. Or over here, these people are saying, and we start to limit ourselves. This paradigm, these old negative habits and beliefs. Like if you are setting resolutions this year, but you don't change your habits or beliefs, what will happen, your goal or your resolutions are, they get kicked out of your mind. See that goal? It goes out of your mind, and you know what happens? You continue to think thoughts that are in harmony with your current habits and beliefs. You've maybe already decided that you're going to be healthy this year. Have you started yet? How many times have you said on a conscious, knowing level, I'm going to go to the gym? And you make all the preparations and you make your prep meals and you put your trainers out and you're all geared up to go. And then when you're waking up in the morning, oh, maybe I'll go later tonight. Whatever excuses come up. The problem is you're not in the habit of going to the gym. Your habits of staying in bed, or your habits in business, maybe you know, if you're in sales, you should be reaching out to prospects. You should be taking certain actions. You should be showing up and serving. But something inside you goes, oh, I don't want to do that. Whether it's confidence, whether it's procrastination, and you end up tidying your office or doing emails or working on something that is not income producing. And you end up getting more results of the same. So what I want you to realize here in this pillar number 2 is that not only do you have to have an attitude where you're thinking about your goal, you've got feelings and habits and beliefs, you've got to now align them up. We've got to take your goal and we've got to say, what would the habits, the daily habits be of someone who's achieved that goal? Like, right now, there's one habit in your life that's holding you back. I don't know what it is, but there's something that you're doing that is not serving you. I would also probably say there's a belief that you have about you, about success that is not serving you. If we do not change what's going on a subconscious level, you will not achieve your goals to the capacity that you can. So here is where I'm saying this is where most people have what we call a knowing doing gap. So you have the goal in your conscious mind, you really, really want to do it, but you have negative programming in the subconscious. Now here's the next fact I want to show you. Your conscious mind, it controls 2 to 4% of what you actually do. Your conscious mind. That's why you thought about going to the gym, but you didn't go. Why? Because the subconscious is where all your results come from. Your results are a direct reflection to your mental programming. So here is where now we've got to start to say, I've got to change the mental programming. I've now got to start to align my habits and my beliefs to this goal. Now, that's not something I can share with you right here in this masterclass. That's a piece of work. That's the self-personal development study that needs to happen. This is what I did. And in a short couple of weeks, couple of months, my whole life had changed because I started to do the things that I really wanted to do. Every person who's listening to me right now knows how to do 1% better in every area of your life. Business, relationship, health, wealth. You all know what to do, but you don't do what you know how to do. And that's why people get in trouble and then they say, what'd you do that for? I don't know. You know to do better. I know. Like, I know that this is making sense to you. Is that serving you? Is that getting you the results that you want? Is that making you happy? No. But because you maybe don't understand that it all comes down to this subconscious programming, this paradigm, you're stuck. You just keep playing tug of war. You want to, but you're scared. You want to step out, but what if you can't? You want to do this, but. See, everything after a but is a paradigm. It's a self-limiting belief. You might be saying, and maybe you're in business and you're saying, I want to multiply my income 5 times, 10 times this year. Well, if you're not in the habit of doing that, if you don't believe and have a built-in mechanism that you feel like you are that person, you're going to work every strategy. You're going to work extra hours. You're going to be doing more, and it's like there's an invisible ceiling and you just can't get past it. You know you have a great product. You know you have a great service, but for some reason it just feels like, oh, we just keep getting stuck. Now, if that's resonating with you, it's because of this alignment section. We have got to change the internal programming if you're going to get an external different result. I'll give you another example. When I felt very unloved and not good enough, I decided I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get the best body. I'm going to feel good and everyone's going to love me and I'm going to feel more confident. I went to the gym to change something on the outside. So many people these days are trying to change results from the outside. Get new team members, get new strategies, put more Facebook ads on, whatever it may be. You're changing things on the outside, but you're not changing anything on the inside. You've got to realize that your results in life are a direct reflection. Here and here, it's always the same. What goes on the inside will show up on the outside. Everything that represents you will represent to you. So you can't keep going through life firefighting, reacting. You need to learn to respond. You need to learn to go to the programming, go to the root cause of results. And then your whole life will change. Now, this brings me on to pillar 3. And this is action. Action equals reaction. Now, this is where you start to realize that you've got to step up and take action. Yes, you can have the right thoughts. Yes, you can have the right habits and beliefs, but you must take action. And now this will be very important leading on from the habits, because if you're in the habit of taking action, you will take action. In fact, another part that I didn't mention is that your subconscious mind works on automatic. That's why you never think to procrastinate. You don't plan to procrastinate, and yet you do it automatically. Because the programming, which goes 96 to 98%, it works on automatic. You don't have to consciously think to procrastinate. So imagine now we decide to work on your mindset. We discover the goals, and that takes a piece of work. I help people really build their vision out. Then I help them reverse engineer that into goals, because you work backwards from a goal. You don't work towards a goal. And this is all part of it. You have to have the goal in your mind. Then the next most important part is that you've got to start to develop success habits and beliefs. I need to work with you on helping you believe that you've already achieved that goal. You've got to start to develop habits like discipline. You've got to start to also be accountable in the actions that you're taking. You need to know what actions to take. You've got to have a plan. This is the planning stage and the implementation stage. Now you've got to ask yourself, number one, do you know what you want? If you don't, then we need to work on that. I can help you with that. Next one is we've got to start to build out your growth mindset. Absolutely critical. You cannot. I know a lot of people have seen maybe a video where Cristiano Ronaldo, he says, I could give everybody my training plan, my nutrition plan, but nobody will be able to execute the plan because they don't have the mindset. This is why it's 95% mindset, 5% strategy. Then we've got to align you. We've got to start to go, what are the habits and the beliefs that you need to look at? We've got to look at your self-image, what you think about you. We've got to look at how you think about money. You've got this part of your mind, the subconscious mind, controls the amount of money you earn. Now, that's a whole other seminar, but isn't that incredible to know? I was always programmed to be a $35,000 a year person. That's what I earned being a nurse. And I never earned any more, even though I worked harder and I got extra jobs. I even went up the pay grades, but no more pay came. Why? Because I was programmed to earn what I earn. How many times have you not had enough money and suddenly something happens that you bring up in enough money, or you don't have enough money and something happens? You are programmed to have a certain financial set point. Now, as I say, that is a whole other seminar, but that's something I can teach you with. You've got to program yourself to be a £100,000 person if that's what you choose. Whatever the number is doesn't matter. But you've got to understand that all has to be programmed into your subconscious. That's what I teach people to do. That's why our clients are being able to multiply their income, live their dream lives, have time with their kids, have peace of mind. Because you see, what happens is, as part of this paradigm, this red part here in the subconscious, that's the inner critic. That's the little voice inside that says things to you that aren't great, not very positive. And your subconscious programming is either programmed negative or positive. And this is where I help people reprogram the subconscious so they can start to be focused on their goals. They can start to have habits that keep them disciplined and accountable to what they're doing. And I pave that path out for them, because you have got to have a plan. A plan is absolutely essential. I teach people how to set up daily disciplines, how to set monthly targets, how to then do that in a quarter. I have a very famous 90-day plan that I take people through. In fact, Bob Proctor even had me teach it to his company. I have honestly cracked the code on how you can start to really think in a new way to create new results. But it will all come down to attitude, alignment, and action. Now, the actions that you're going to have to take we can't really go there yet because we need to figure out what it is that you want. Now, this is why, if we just come off the whiteboard for now, this is why I want you, and I'm going to invite you to come and speak to us. Let's talk. Let's hear about your goal. Let's look and pull that apart. I would say nearly everybody watching this needs more help in developing a clear goal in their mind. And you have to have a clear goal. It can't be scattered. Where your mind and focus goes, energy flows. I can help you attract the ideas, the people, the means, give you support, but most importantly, guide you every single week, every single step. I can give you the exact and more, the exact blueprint that Bob Proctor gave me. And as I said, if I can do it, you can do it. Now, when it comes to going beyond resolutions, when it comes to achieving your goals, hopefully what you've realized tonight is that you got to know what you want. You got to be committed to doing what it takes. And then you've got to work on these 3 pillars. You got to start to align your attitude to the desire. You've got to start to align your programming, your habits and beliefs, and start to feel and act in a different way. And then you got to go out and take action. And you got to know what action to take. And that's where I help you reverse engineer out that plan. You don't need to do it alone. Many people will come off this and think, right, I just need to take more action. And they jump to stage 3. But you've got to realize that no matter how much harder you work, no matter how much action you take, it's not making a difference because you haven't went to the root cause. And this is why we are able to go, okay, if your thoughts, feelings, and actions create results, and we know that, then why can't we just go, what are results do we want? What do I need to act like? How do I need to feel and operate? And how do I need to think? And that's exactly where I'm able to sit with you and help you map that out, keep you accountable, give you a support network in order to do that, specialized knowledge, teach you all elements that I haven't even gone through tonight, raise your income, raise your self-confidence, give you that space where you can start to think in possibilities. And that is what we do here. So I hope that you've enjoyed these teachings. Now wait, because I have a surprise for you. What I have got for you is a special gift. Here at Dynamite Lifestyle and everything that we do, especially here inside the source, is I believe everybody needs this content. Now, people spend thousands of pounds to work with me all of the time. And that is a great investment because they go away having multiplied that over and over again. But what I want to give you right now is a gift. I want to challenge you to coming and working with me for 21 days. I want to invite you into the source code. This is a 21-day challenge if you're up for it. If you've loved what I have shown you in this masterclass and you'd love to take more time and pull this apart and maybe even delve into, tell me more about the abundance, or tell me more about relationships, or tell me more about this paradigm that you've been talking about. Do you know what I've been doing for the last little while? I have been putting together a 21-day challenge that is going to drip feed you across 21 days some of this information to start to build upon your awareness and understanding of how this works. Now, I've built this in such a way that it is all inside an app here inside the source, and that it is fun to do. It's also not going to take an awful long time. And this is going to be every single day. Imagine, just for a second, imagine every single day I could be teaching you for a very short amount of time. Sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes. But every day, if I was to give you some of this pathway really well laid out, would that interest you? If I could be your mentor in your pocket for 21 days, do you know research has shown it takes 21 days to shift a habit? Well, the habit that I want you to shift is discipline. I want you to be committed because you see, I can help you. You can come and work with me in mentorship. You can come and work with me for 90 days and go through my really accelerating 90-day program, or you can come and work with me for a year. But I think what you got to ask yourself is, are you disciplined? And these 21 days are really going to pave the path for you to know what is the best route. Now, I'm ready to work with you. If you've already seen enough and you go, no, Kim, I want you to mentor me every single week, then great, book a call. You can see below here, there are two options. Book a call And then what we're going to do is send you out this 21 days actually as a gift. So here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to pay anything. I believe everyone should have access to this. So all I want you to do is to accept the mission, to accept the challenge, and